Howdy folks, it's Leo Alderpole here, coming at you again, once again, from a roadside somewhere in Wiltshire. Don't exactly know where, just been out exploring on the bike. I'm smoking in one of my favourite pipes, Benny Thompson, some Bad Nun 2. So I've tried to do this video a couple of times now. I'm not sure whether or not this is going to be third time lucky, but while I'm riding around I'm thinking about things, and I'm thinking about ideas and what's going on in the world today and so on and so forth, and I get these very clear thoughts in my head about what I want to say in a video like this, but then when I come to actually try and do it, I don't know, it sort of disappears like smoke. So I'll try and put it as succinctly as possible. But as everyone's aware, things in the US at the moment in particular are going to shit. And I know a lot of my followers are over there in the States, and this video may well lose me a couple. But if that's the case, then ciao. Because after the killing of yet another black man by the police who wasn't resisting arrest, they just outright killed him again. Well, obviously it instigated riots and things like that, and general civil unrest in the streets. And during the course of all of that, what did Trump do? Well, rather than actually criticise the police or the systemic racism, he did what he always does, which is fuel it. So he declared Antifa a terrorist organisation. Well, no pass around, motherfucker. It just goes to show how much of a dumb fuck the guy really is. For a start, Antifa is not an organisation. It's a philosophy. You're either anti-fascist or you're not. But in this day and age, it's not enough to just not be fascist or just not be racist. Because it is up to those of us who actually have privilege in our lives, to a certain extent, to be able to give a voice to the voiceless. So this video really is by way of solidarity with the black communities in the States, and with those oppressed everywhere, really, obviously. But in the wake of Trump's recent statement about making Antifa a terrorist organisation, I went onto Instagram and I put a photo up of me wearing an anti-fascist t-shirt and saying something to the effect of "Fuck you, Trump. Glad to be called a terrorist by you." And it prompted a bit of backlash by one or two of my followers on there. My dose of Corona. So, you know, in these circles, in these pipe groups, pipe communities, the YouTube pipe community and everything, people like to say, well, you know, let's keep this a politics-free zone, or I don't really want to talk about politics. I don't want to think about politics. But you know what? The only people who get to say that are people of privilege. The only people who will ever say, I don't really care for politics. It doesn't affect me. I've got other things to think about, are white, and usually male. Because there is nothing in our makeup that has stopped us getting what we want out of life. And that's the definition of white privilege. I'm a white man. I know that my skin colour and my gender and my sexuality have never stopped me getting anything that I want in life. So, as far as I'm concerned, people saying, oh, I don't really care for politics, that's the height of ignorance and the height of hubris, frankly. But as well as that, the divisions being stirred since the death of Floyd have also brought that old chestnut bucket back out of the woodwork, that all lives matter mantra. That, let's be frank, only two kind of people ever really say that. That's the ignorant and the outright racist. Car just coming past. So the guy who I got into a spat with on Instagram the other day was one of those. So let's just have a look at this all lives matter thing and break it down for a moment. The Black Lives Matter movement was never about making or diminishing any other race. That whole notion is just preposterous. But if the people who go around saying things like all lives matter really believe that, then they would be part of this Black Lives Matter movement. Because if all lives matter, then Black Lives Matter. The fact of the matter is, a white person has never had to struggle on account of his whiteness. I have enjoyed the fact that I've gotten to my age so far, 45 almost, and with all of the shit that I've done in my life, I have never been harassed by the cops. I've never had to fear for my life because of my skin colour. I've never been held back because of my genetic makeup. So if you're one of those people going around saying all lives matter, then you're one of those people who are putting your head in the sand and pretending that that does not exist. And that is white privilege. I don't know. I get so hacked off. You see it coming up everywhere. It's happened in Brazil, it's happened in Europe, it's happened in big time in the States. You just get this resurgence of populism, right-wing populism. And you know, it's funny because people would always say, they would always use Germany as the example and say, oh, well, you know, the German people were idiots to follow Hitler. It would never happen to us. Well, guess what, fuckers? It is happening right now. Right-wing populists, they know how to manipulate a bunch of people. They know how to manipulate a population of people. It's simple. They know this. They're taught it from an early age. You know, they are the leading classes, the elites. They're brought up to believe that they are the leaders. They are the born leaders. Just listen to Trump's rhetoric. And they will get the gullible people behind them. Now, the fact of the matter is, the US is already moving into the areas, the territory of outright fascism. When you declare anti-fascism to be terrorist, well, that makes you a fascist. Newsflash. So I figured I'd do this video as a bit of a break from my usual stuff, because, as I said, I have never been one to shy away from pinning my colours to the mast, and I want to put this out there on YouTube so at least the few followers I have know damn well which side of the fence I'm on. And if you're one of my followers and you believe all of that all lives matter and that Black Lives Matter or Antifa are terrorists or no good, then maybe you ought to re-examine your own privilege and think about that. So just as a bit of an adjunct, and I'm not quite sure how I'll splice this into the video, but it occurred to me as an afterthought. You inevitably always get people that will say, oh well, why don't you worry about what's happening in your own country and leave what's happening in the US to us to worry about. And I know I'm going to get some of those kind of comments on this video, so here's my answer to you right off the bat. The US has a long and proud history of interfering in other people's countries. So before you come at me with that bullshit, maybe take a look at yourselves. Everywhere around the world where the United States has interfered. Because I can guarantee you the kind of people who are going to be saying, oh well, America's our problem to worry about, you mind your own business, they're going to be the same jingos and chest beaters that are calling for Saddam's head or Gaddafi's head or Maduro to be overthrown. So that argument ain't gonna wash with me, my friends. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap that one up here. You folks take care.